In a world where darkness and light collide, two flames burn eternal. From the sacred halls of Freemasonry to the roaring highways of the widow's sons comes a brotherhood forged in truth, honor, and fire. This is no ordinary podcast, so this is the voice of the craft, reminding you that the sun never sets on the widow's sons. From the heartland of America, welcome to the Two Burning Tapers podcast with your hosts, Skittles and Gilligan.
Tonight, brothers, we step behind the veil on Two Burning Tapers. We don't just talk about Freemasonry, we seek understanding. And tonight, we're honored to sit with a brother who didn't just receive his third degree, didn't just study it, but he wrote the book on it. Brother Mike is a master mason, a scholar of the craft, and author who has been dedicated his work to exploring the meaning, symbolism, and weight of the third degree, the heart of the Masonic initiation. This is a conversation about death and rebirth, about loss and light, about the true meanings to be raised, not just in ritual, but in light. If you've ever asked yourself, why does the third degree matter, or what is really trying to be taught to us, you're in the right place. Brothers and friends, welcome to Two Burning Tapers. Brother Mike is in the house. It's good to see you, brother.
Great to be here, brethren. Thank you. That's the best welcome I've gotten all day anywhere I've gone.
I'll tell you what, this man is always really good with speeches. If I had to give somebody a speech and be like, hey, dude, you got 5 minutes to write a speech, that man has got you.
We've done it before.
That was a great introduction. Thank you again for having me. I'm so pleased to be with you and to all the brethren who are watching. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Nice. Definitely. Parker loved the speech. Brother Mike, I got to meet you a little bit before we got on the podcast here. Welcome to the podcast officially. I guess I really want to start and give yourself a little bit of an introduction, kind of let people know who you are, where you're from, what state you live in, and a little introduction to how you found Two Burning Tapers, or how Brother Skittles and you met.
Yeah, and
thank
please
you very
feel
much,
free to
brother.
give your titles as well.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll start with my Masonic background. So my full title, Right Worshipful Michael Czech, past Grand Historian and current District Education Officer, part of the Grand Lodge of New Jersey. Born and raised in New Jersey. I currently live in northern part of the state, not too far from Newark Airport, which everyone seems to know where that is.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a Mason almost going right now on about 10 years.
10 years.
Past master of Atlas Pythagoras Lodge number 10, which is in a town called Westfield. A member of numerous York Rite bodies, Scottish Rite, the things you would typically expect.
Mm-hmm.
So, I started way back in when I was 42 years old. So I'm 51 now.
Okay.
Nice. I was doing what I think a lot of men do when you hit that age. Get up, you go to work, you come home, you do whatever you can for a few hours, you go to bed and repeat.
Yep.
And I started to think about a little change I was looking for in my life in general. I don't think this is a rare Masonic story. Kids were grown. I have 2 stepsons. They're both grown and out of the house. My wife and I have a very independent relationship in terms of our free time. And I started to discuss this with her after reading some Dan Brown, right? Lost Symbol. Got intrigued about it, started looking around for lodges, and I did 2 years of research when I started thinking about this. So for me, it was not a quick decision at all. Considered some lodges around and saw a friend of mine who was a previous client in one of my careers, of which I'll discuss in a moment. And I said, I noticed he was a Freemason. I reached out to him. He said, you must get together with me and let's talk. And although I had a Masonic lodge just 2 miles from my house, the one I joined is about probably not that much far. It's 15 miles away. But he said, you got to come and check this out. And I fell in with the gang there, and it just went so well.
Awesome.
Right. So the beauty of what's come from Masonry for me is that I have applied. So I have a business degree from Rutgers University. I've been a business owner for my whole career, sales, owning my own companies, different myriad of places. So he was a former client, this Mason, and he had a very good impression. So when he brought me to the lodge, it was more favorable than I would have expected, considering our past relationship was many years old.
Right.
And I never knew I had any sort of impact that really lasted, but he felt there was an impact. So it was a very soft entry. And it was just wonderful to be with a group of like-minded men. And when you asked the question earlier, you said, how did Masonry find you? Which I think is a great way to put that question, rather than, okay, why'd you find Masonry? What happened?
Exactly.
Right.
We know that if you're made a Mason in your heart, it finds you.
Correct. That we've had podcasts about that. We've
Right.
literally had podcasts. That's why I love asking that question, like, how did it find you? Because we find it in different times of our life, and we all know at that moment when we find it, we know what we found.
This has been the most right experience I probably have had. I mean, my marriage, I have a great marriage, very
Right.
happily married. Freemasonry is right up there, man. It is so insanely right for me, and I believe I'm right for it. So it's just, what a life enhancement to be a Freemason. And if people are listening who are thinking about Freemasonry, they simply have to continue to keep looking into it. Start asking the questions, find someone or multiple people that you feel are trustworthy, and ask those people the same questions and see how they answer it differently. Every prospect, ask those same questions you asked me of another guy. Let's see how the answers are the same or different. All right. Check out lodges. So that's my background. I am just thrilled to be a Freemason. When we talk about the future of Masonry, I know your podcast covers these topics because they are on everybody's mind.
Right.
I believe the future of Freemasonry is actually extremely bright.
Right.
Systematically, it's going to change because everything does.
Right.
But I think our future is brighter than a lot of people feel.
Right.
And that optimism is important.
Right. You were stating there a minute ago how Freemasonry found you at like 42.
Yeah.
I'm currently 42. I've been a Freemason since 2009.
Oh.
Skittles is 32. So we're literally like almost a 10-year gap in between the three of us sitting right here right now. And we all found it in different times. Skittles found it in 2015, 2016, about the same time you did, because you said about 10 years ago. And you both have been currently past masters of your state at lodges, correct?
Yeah, I was a master in 2021.
2021, so right after COVID.
So I was, and then presided over some other bodies in the meantime. The thing I'll say to you, Brother Skittles, is that at 32, I would not have been ready. Right? This happened, like Freemasonry found me at the time it was supposed to find me.
Yeah.
You are very blessed that it found you at the age you're at, because you have even more time to enjoy the craft.
Yeah, brother, I feel very blessed.
Yeah. And it just so happened that my dumbass and this dumbass worked together at one point. Kind of like you said, you found a client, and that you found something in that client. You're like, man, he's got something that I want. Like he has something that I want. And I don't know if it's something maybe we all met back in a previous life and we were all soldiers together, or we were just fisher of men to go out and kind of share our stories. So that way that we bring out good light for everybody. And they're like, oh, okay. I was going to ask you, did you have anybody in your family once you became a Freemason did you find out that anybody in your family was Freemason?
I did not. So there was no legacy, no one who came out of the woodwork or information that came out. I'm the first in my family that I'm aware of.
Good for you.
Yeah, I'm fortunate because my family is very supportive of it. I wouldn't necessarily say like the recruit, right? They're not, we all have our different interests, but they've been very supportive and proud of my achievements and what I've been doing. And I think that's real helpful, because when your family or your spouse isn't on board, you're dead in the water. It's going to be a problem.
Right. Because it puts wedges in there between you and your fraternity, or because sometimes you have to make decisions of home or Blue Lodged or any other bodies that you're independent bodies you're in, because it does require your time. So you have to we always say you put in what you get out, or excuse me, you get out what you put in. So at that moment, you have to make those decisions do I have the time to dedicate those 8 hours of work, 8 hours of like free time, my time with my family, as so shall be, or my 8 hours of rest? Where am I going to subject those 8 hours? Like, where am I going to give up that time? So I got to decide, is it my family time or is it my rest time? And most of us choose our rest time over our family time.
How did you find the Two Burning Tapers podcast?
So I found you on Facebook originally.
Yeah.
In terms of, scrolling through. I also was looking because I wrote the book, I said, I want to get some word out there. And I happen to have two Masonic brothers here in Jersey that run a podcast, and they had me on. And then another group that's out of Virginia was I'm very friendly with, and they were willing to have me on. And I said, I want to find other podcasts so I can have a different experience with people, not only that I know, but that I don't know. Because the beauty of what we do is that the three of us would not meet in normal circumstances.
Right.
The thing that when you try to explain to someone about Masonry and why it matters, it's because you meet people you would never meet in any other part of your life. So you're always looking for that opportunity. The beauty of electronic setup is we don't have to drive or fly or take any sort of transportation to meet with each other anymore. Now we can do it fiber optically or satellite. And it would be just a shame not to take advantage of these opportunities for us all to have fraternal communication. So the original answer, your original question, I saw you on YouTube. I started watching clips. I said, I like this. And then it was the courage to just say, do you have an opening for a guest? Here's why I would be interested if you have an interest. And that courage is like asking out a woman. You can get rejected.
Yeah.
And, you feel you're embarrassed to yourself and you feel like, oh my God, they don't want me, but you have to take the shot. You never get anywhere if you don't take that shot.
Yeah, that is what's fun about, now that Freemasonry is entering an age where the internet exists, where podcasts exist. It's like we can meet brothers outside of lodge and outside of in person, even, like me and you, like we haven't met in person, but we have been able to, meet through Freemasonry in a sense.
The beautiful part is that you never know where life is going to take you. So if I'm ever in your neck of the woods, I know a brother.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you come to Jersey, I am 20 minutes from the airport.
Yeah.
If you're coming to New Jersey, you're probably flying through that airport. And if you say, man, I need something, guys are here, and it's like, it's just great to know you have acquaintances who are your brothers all over. I've traveled in different places. I've been on the island of Aruba. I visited all 4 lodges there. I go back almost every year. I know they have coffee on Tuesdays. At this time, I pop in and they remember who I am.
That's fantastic.
Been to Montreal and visited. Who do we have on the ground here? Who do we know there? And somebody knows somebody who knows somebody. And these brethren are always happy to see you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something I try really hard to do, is to make sure that whenever there's brethren in my area, me and Gilligan, we call it rolling out the red carpet, where it's like, all right, we have a new brother in town, let's try to call up all the brothers. Let's go out for steak. Let's take them out, show them around, try to give them some historical while they're here, make it memorable of sorts. And no, that's really right. Whenever I go and travel, I always try to reach out to the brothers, and there's usually somebody from a lodge that has some free time that night.
And it's, having that sense of hospitality, if we all keep paying that forward, the world gets just a little bit better in our own corner. And that's what Masonry is. Let's make our own little corner better. You can worry about the world. You can worry about all the massive issues. You can change your spot. And sometimes you have to get a little tighter with what you can really accomplish, right? Trying to fix the whole thing, you could try, but why not just take care of your own pitch, right? And then expand from there.
Yeah,
Right.
of course. So something I'm really interested in, you've been a Mason for, in my head, just doing rough math, about 9-10 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's going on 10 years. Yep,
Going on
10
10.
years.
Okay. So
Yeah.
in 10 years, you've accomplished a lot. I mean, holding titles that you've held, I'm thoroughly impressed, and just know that young eyes are looking up to you, brother. I would love to hear more of, like, how does one become the grand historian of New Jersey? Like, how did you gravitate towards that?
So I'll kind of give you I'll take it sort of from the beginning. So when I had joined my lodge, we had a couple of very aggressive leaders who were really pretty good at scouting, I would say scouting talent, in terms of being able to evaluate people very quickly
Mhm.
and on a level that they would use in their businesses.
Okay.
And because I was a business owner, a little older in life, a little more experienced, they took a shine to me um, as having leadership ability. And
Okay.
I had some leadership roles through my life in different things, particularly at my job, and again, all the other things I've done. So I was very fast tracked in terms of becoming a lodge officer. And because of circumstances, I'm what we call a 5-year wonder. So from the time
Okay.
I joined Masonry, I was a master in 5 years,
Good for you.
starting at junior deacon and going through the chairs. And in our lodge, Atlas Pythagoras, there is a fairly high standard for progression. It is, you're scrutinized. It's positive, but it's a business at the end of the day, and we would like our management to be business oriented, service oriented, and have a little bit of strategic thinking behind their eyes.
Mhm.
Because that's kind of what the best masters are able to do. So I was serving as worshipful master. Now, the year I served, the first 3.5 months were crushed because of COVID. Okay, so
Oh.
in New Jersey, 10 guys in a lodge meeting, no food, masks in the building. And so when I was installed, I had 10 people. I couldn't have any guests. There was no dinner, nothing like that. Installation was
Right.
install the guy, let's go home, right? So it was very important for me in that time where lodge meetings and social was very, very straightforward. There was no social events. Started to focus on all the things we could get done in the lodge. A lot of that had to do with the physical building itself, motivating members to stay involved, to stay in touch, stay positive, right? Everything was about the attitude of getting through the COVID lockdown, which was it was just crushing here. Okay, so when everything started to open up for business again, we had a deputy grand master who came to watch an event, and it was a presentation someone gave, and at the end he came to me and said, I would like you to be my grand historian. Now, in New Jersey, that's considered an inner staff position. So men like the grand chaplains of each district, there's it's about 20 districts in New Jersey, give or take a few. District deputy grand masters, they're considered outer staff. Historians are an inner staff position, like a junior grand deacon or something like that. What that basically means is you are carrying a portfolio of things to do. And as a grand historian, it wasn't so much because I had a history background. It was more because in my lodge, we had several men who had previously served as grand historians.
Mhm.
It's not a tradition per se. However, we have produced 5 of them. And it was just a case of, I want you on my staff, but I want you to do what you're really good at. Although I have a portfolio of stuff for you to do. And the Grand Master and I saw very close eye to eye on what his vision was. The most organized person I've ever worked with. And the only guy who's more organized was his personal secretary. And these guys they were hyper organized. And I work very well in that environment.
Very
So
good.
whenever the Grand Master had something he wanted done, he was asking me if I could accomplish it. And my goal was to do it very quickly. I'm going to give you a case in point. The Grand Master is sitting at a table at dinner. I'm all the way at the other end of the table. And he goes, before I'm out of office, I want a cigar lodge. Mike, make it happen. In 2
Mm.
weeks, we had a full ritual written. I had a charter ready for him to sign and put our Grand Lodge stamp on. And I had an introductory members list, and we call it Faith, Smoke, and Charity Lodge #1.
Nice.
And I am the most distinguished master, or the perfect ash, as they call me. I tried to come up with the most grandiose name. I had penis jokes. Those were a no-go. It was, all right, come up with something, we can use. So it became most distinguished master or the perfect ash.
Perfect ash.
So to go back, the way that someone in masonry can move forward quicker is if they pretend it's like their job. Don't try not to say no as much as possible. You have to have your limits, and you have to say no versus doing a crappy job or not getting it done. You're better off saying, I don't have the bandwidth. But being a fast worker who can deliver and execute stuff, the sky's the limit. Because when you're the reputation of a worker, people want to work with you. They will overload you because in masonry, I assume you're dealing with this in your own organization. It used to be the 80-20 rule. It's about the 90-10 rule now. For 10% of our guys, they're exhausted.
Yeah.
But they love masonry enough to keep going and keep doing things, right? And then you have the membership they're doing what they do, but are they willing to, do they have an appetite to really take on projects that affect the craft at large in the jurisdiction or their lodge, right? Oh, my favorite thing people say, I have a great idea for you to execute. And I go, this is not the good idea committee, guys. This is to get stuff done committee, right? So if you're not going to champion your own idea, don't bring it to me because I've got stuff to do too. So if you can be that guy who says, I have an idea, but I'll lead the execution of it, you're worth your weight in gold.
And you'll get it done.
Whether you're in the Widow's Sons or you're in any other Masonic group, if someone comes in and says, Skittles, I have an idea, but I will take the lead on this because as the master, you got enough on your plate. All I need is your yes and your champion me to get this done. You're a good leader. You look good. The guy's happy because he got it done. You give him the credit and the whole club's happy.
Right.
So how do we not understand these very basics on how to manage and lead? You don't have to be a Harvard MBA to know how to make people want to do stuff. Say thank you. It's free.
Yeah.
People like thank yous.
Yep. Or step up and lead. And
that's it. And it's like we have, everyone has a past master, kind of the grumpy past master stereotype, right?
I would say we had a whole podcast on that.
Okay. So I mean, without taking too much time, I believe that a past master should act like a proud grandfather.
Right. Like you just saw the new baby.
Look at what my kids are doing. I taught them that.
Yep.
And sit on the sideline and smile.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be the way you did it. And don't be nasty. When did we forget our manners? We are gentlemen serving other gentlemen.
Correct.
When did we forget that? Right? Like, just be nice.
Yep.
That's the first thing. Be nice.
Yep. Be humble. Be humble.
Just treat people the way you want to be treated and mean it. And we're all going to be fine.
Yep. Yep. Oh, most definitely.
Well, hey, so Gilligan, I just asked him, how does one become Grand Lecturer of New Jersey and get the titles he's gotten so quickly in just the right around 10 years of being a Mason. I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to ask before we dive into that he's
the
put
book
together.
I
didn't know if you had anything. I just want to give you a chance before we start diving into that.
Yeah, I know, because once we dive into that, that's probably going to kill the end of the podcast, because that could be a pretty good
That's a big rabbit hole, yeah.
Because I'm going to be like, wait, what? Hold on. Hey, wait, hold on. No. Oh, hold on. Hey, well, tell me. No. I always like to ask, before we get any of our visitors off our podcast, I always like to do a elevator speech. So just say you got trapped in an elevator and someone asked you, maybe you were wearing a necklace or a shirt or something that had a Freemasonry sign on it. And they were like, hey, what's Freemasonry? Or someone came up to you that's been around you in a long time and asked you what Freemasonry was, and you had a minute to explain to them, and then they had to go on their way. What would you lay out?
Yeah, so I always start with the basics, which is to say it's a fraternity, just like you would have seen in college, but this is adult males who are out of school, and that it's a group of men who try to get together reasonably often so that they can try to better themselves as people, as men, as fathers, sons, brothers, and at the same time are trying to better the corner of the world they live in every single day. So I've used words before like it's a school for gentlemanhood or gentlemanship, where we are trying to revive the idea that men are supposed to lead the way in a kind but strong way, in terms of how we behave and how we treat others. So I can go into real quick details in under a minute about, okay, how does it work and that sort of thing.
Right.
Quite often we're when we're speaking to men who have an interest, we always try to hit them with the big three. Got to be over 18.
Right.
All right. In Jersey, you got to be over 18.
Okay.
Got to believe in
Kentucky.
God. Okay. You got to believe in God, and you cannot be a felon.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes it's not easy to ask about that. Like, if that's going to be an issue, we can move on from there.
Right.
But I think the idea is trying to just tell men the organization exists so that men have a place to go where they can communicate with other men about whatever's going on in their lives. And because all of us have been through the same experience, which is our degree initiations, everybody has a tie that's just a little deeper than being buddies that you watch football with.
Right. Right.
That would probably be my quick and dirty speech on how to get someone to ask questions. Because my method is always, I ask you questions and you tell me what you're going to want to know. And I can sell ice to an Eskimo if I ask the right questions.
Right. Awesome. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I love the speech, brother. Love the speech.
Thank you.
So, other than that, no, I don't have anything other, because I asked you how long you've been a Mason, how Freemasonry found you, and you had none in your previous history in your family. Were you in the military at all?
I was not.
Okay.
That's one regret, that if I could go back, I would have served. And I do know some other men close in my age group who have said the same thing for whatever reason, did not need to serve or just chose not to. Right. So I was on the college track in my family, first one to go to college in my family. And I was told at 8 by my parents, you are going to college. Because I had the grades, right? It just was one of those things. They were all trained in professional things, but not through university.
Right.
So I sort of knew very early on, and I was like a good kid. So like I listened to my parents. I expected good guidance and got it. So for me, the military was not really a choice, although I will tell you that early in school, they give you a test called the ASVAB. It's like your basic military, intelligence test.
Oh, yeah.
I started getting calls from recruiters, so evidently I did well on that test.
Shit,
right?
I took
because
it.
They want people to look at OCS, right?
Yeah. I took that thing like 17 times.
I took anything besides the date of birth and name, or
I got past like the math and arithmetic, that part area. The other part of it, I was like, well, this is too boring. Click. See. When in doubt, see it out.
And you're probably the highest scorer in the school.
Buddy, I was, but I tried to get in the military. The reason why I asked was because sometimes Freemasonry has that same bond. Like when you go, sometimes when someone in the military goes to war with somebody, you get that deeper bond that you two share, or gentleman in your lodge or that unit shares kind of the same feeling that we get through Freemasonry. That's why I asked.
Yeah, we are drawing in my lodge law enforcement and military. We draw a lot of retired military and active law enforcement or retired. We draw, and it's for the reasons you said. They miss the camaraderie of that unit. And it's amazing that they look at Freemasonry to replace that, or to take, to like complement that, because yes, the structure is similar, ritual, that sort of thing. We're trying to push ourselves to be very close.
Correct.
But I mean, what a soldier has to do in a day and what a Freemason does in their spare time is very different.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
They are looking for that bond, and it's great that we can offer it.
Correct. Yeah. Were you in any when you were in college? Were you in any fraternities or anything?
I wasn't. It's very interesting when I joined. So as a young man at college, like I had friends, had girlfriends. I was like, I don't think I need this. But when you hit middle age, it's not the girlfriends, because you're not going to get that in Masonry. You want friends, and you want good friends. Right. So you hit, like I said early on, you hit that middle age and you're like, there's got to be more to life than what I'm doing right now.
Right.
And those relationships, I mean, I don't know if you feel this way or this is your case, but I'll bet it is. Your best friends are Masons. And you probably have some friends who aren't Masons, but you don't see them as much as you do your Masonic brothers, right?
Correct.
That deepness is just like irreplaceable. So for me, it's like, it's the greatest thing.
I mean, you're talking to one of my best friends. Everybody thinks we're brothers. Like, legitimately, out in public in our Widow Sons, everybody's like, y'all are brothers, right? No, we're 10 years apart from completely different families and completely different states, grew up completely different. We just met each other at work and we're going to go fisticuffs, but now we're like literally best friends.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how those, like God put you together for a reason.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Masons believe that God put you here because you were meant to be here in that person's life. And God puts everything where it's meant to go. If you have faith, you can get through anything.
Correct. So I think God puts us in the puts us at that point of Freemasonry when it finds you, is at that point of your life you needed something to lead you, and sometimes the church isn't always enough. Because I mean, I come from Skittles comes from a church background. I don't come from a church background, but I'm a firm believer in God. I'm a firm believer that there's something else out there other than myself. But it definitely puts it all in perspective through Freemasonry. We're not a church, but we were taught to go seek into the Bible and go seek that light and understand it.
It's probably one of the most popular topics is to talk about the relationship of the Catholic Church specifically and Freemasonry. I wrote a research paper on it for a educational program in our state, and I probably presented it 25 times. I had to retire it. I was just like, oh my God, it's like I've had enough.
Right.
And some of the data actually got stale when the Catholic Church recently reaffirmed they're not going to give Masons a break, right? So my paper was written in 18. It was like, what if we can bury the hatchet? Well, it comes a year or so ago, there ain't no burying that hatchet. That hatchet's going to be sharpened for however long it takes. So that paper almost was obsolete by events, right? But we need to remember what I had just said. If you have faith in something, you can get through any problem.
Correct.
Right? There are no atheists in the emergency room. There are no atheists for cancer. Right?
Fair enough.
It's just came to the party maybe a little late, but you got there. Right? So for me, I think this faith in God, Masonry made me a better Christian. It didn't make me a worse one. It made me it just gave me a better relationship with God, because I appreciate things. Like little things are so appreciated, because gratitude is how you manifest your love for God. By being grateful for all the gifts you have, right?
Correct.
And listen, we're all doing okay. People have it way worse than all of us, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you got to just look for the positive and stuff, right? I mean, when you're happy and you're grateful, good stuff happens.
I think that's a good thing. A good thing to say there is one of the mindsets of Masonry. We are all mostly positive. Like, we all bring a positive attitude to the mindset, minus some of us grumpier old men, which happens. You get the right to be that. I mean, fuck, you've been on the world for 100 years. I at 100 years old, I'm gonna be a little grumpy, but like, look, we invented the wheel 57 years ago. It's not square, I promise.
It's very important, so it's funny, Gilligan, because I've thought about this, where people get older and they tend to be grumpy. And when you hit a certain age, you literally do decide to stop caring about certain things. And that's dangerous, because I feel like our elders should be leading the way. So when you have a guy who's 70 and he's like fresh to a woman and he thinks it's funny because he doesn't give a damn anymore, I go, wait a second. Like, dude, this could be like your granddaughter. Like, don't be lecherous. Like, what are you doing? Or, because people don't mellow out when they get older. They get angry. And it's like, look, people are watching you. Be the example.
Correct.
Right? And we need to teach our children that. But unfortunately, we need to teach some of our elders that we are the tweens, the three of us.
Right.
We have to manage our kids, but we also have to manage our parents, right? Eventually, as our parents get older, you got to manage them, right?
Yep,
Hey,
yep.
why aren't you doing this? Going to, why are you walking on snow? What are you doing, right? Like things, nobody wants to be told. But it's so interesting because when you go through the Masonic fraternity, if you can remember the lessons that are taught between degree work and good examples of other well-informed brethren, you will have more patience.
Yep.
You will have more love in your heart.
Yep.
You will realize that you are doing the work of God and you become an angel on earth. And this world needs more angels.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
100%.
This is a vital thing that there are not enough angels walking on this planet. But Freemasons and other people who are involved in positive charitable work and trying to make themselves better and believe in their deity and try to act kindly, this world can never get enough of those.
Correct.
And society's not getting better at this. We're getting worse at it.
Way worse.
So when I said this is a school for gentlemanship, I believe that. That is vital for Masons to try to act gentlemanly. We all get upset. We all act like guys. We're not always doing the right thing, but do your best.
Right.
Do a little better than yesterday. And every time you slip, you look up to the sky and go, I know what I did. I'll just try not to keep doing it. Right. And we try to scale off the ashlar and polish it a little more so those rough edges start to come away. And when our older Masons decide they don't have to do that, that's not good for us. They have to polish more because they have less time left.
Right. Yeah, they got to polish a lot harder, a lot faster.
That's right. You're not supposed to take your foot off the gas. You're supposed to go faster.
Correct.
To get everything done before God takes you to that, the house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens.
Yep. Man, brother, I could talk to you for hours on Freemasonry shit.
I'm having a great time.
I'm telling you. And we're 40 minutes in and we're just now getting to your book.
I'm thinking, God, I hope I'm not boring the crap out of these guys.
No, sir. Man, that's the thing about our podcast. I love it. Just we start talking and the subjects come out by themselves. Like I have no agenda. It's better that way because that way we have certain things we like to ask every person that comes on just so we can get to know you. So let's dive into that. Speaking of, let's dive into that third degree. You want to kind of tell us about it, give us your title, and then we can dive into it.
Great. So I wrote a novel, and the way we pronounce this changes based on where you live in the country. So in New Jersey, we say vile and impious wretches. Now, other parts of the country say impious, right?
Impious.
Technically, both are correct. But so the book, Vile and Impious Wretches, a novel of King Solomon's Temple in the ancient Middle East, is the brainchild came from a presentation I wrote about 5 years ago. So when I was acting in the Master Mason degree in New Jersey, if you don't repeat men acting in the roles, you need about 27 people to put a degree on.
Right. Oh yeah.
Your officers and everything else. Okay.
Yep.
So I started getting into this, and also as I've been a Scottish Rite member, our ritual is not overly pushed for people to be theatrical in our Blue Lodges. They do put a high premium on getting the words right.
Right.
Whereas the Scottish Rite gives you a little more, not ritual change, but a little more creative license and costuming and that sort of thing.
Agreed.
And I personally feel that that's the way we need to go. And when I saw guys who they were reciting wonderfully, but they were monotone or very fast, there wasn't an impact there.
They were like this.
I just decided, okay, when I do my roles, I'm gonna have motivation like an actor. I'm not a trained actor.
Right.
But I started to get motivation. Some of it didn't go so well with people. Some of it went really well with some people.
Correct.
But when I started to play the third ruffian, there's some of the ritual where the ruffians are gonna be called for their crimes and we have to answer for them. And it's always been the theory that when they answer, they're very sad for what they've done. They're very penitent. I never felt that way. And I always felt that the criminals involved in this allegory of the third degree, they kind of knew what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
It was premeditated.
Okay.
This was not a bunch of, children who just, oh my God, we didn't realize what we did. And I started to play that role with a little more gusto toward being unstable mentally. Okay.
Like,
The reason why I brought all of this out is very simple. And I tell people this when I teach them ritual. We have a leadership conference in New Jersey. I've been a chairman for 3 years. I do a module on ritual, and it has nothing to do with memorizing ritual. It has to do with delivery. And the important part is when I speak in that lodge room, nobody should be looking at their phone, talking, or doing anything but looking at me. And the reason why, they want to see what I'm going to do next.
Yep.
So I am very conscious of a loud voice, a commanding presence. So you can't see because I'm sitting down. I'm 6'5", 260 pounds. Okay. I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
All right. And when I'm doing this ritual, I want to show people something that they go, never seen it like that before. The candidate will enjoy what they're given. The Mason who has seen this 21 times is just, I don't know why they're there, and they're not sure why they're there. My reason is you're going to see something you've never seen before. So now, when I wrote the presentation, I decided to take the degree, and I said, a lot of the things that happen in this degree, they just sort of taken for granted. There's a lot of holes here, right? So I'll give you some examples. And I don't think I'm giving anything away from the story. But for example, the 3 characters who become criminals, their names are very similar. And I've researched why that is. And there's not necessarily a specific reason why. I created in the book a reason. In my presentation, I created a reason.
Okay.
Right? So they have similar names. Are they brothers? Are they related? Are they pseudonyms? Is this a family name?
Did they work together?
Name? That's exactly. How did they get to know each other? What's their upbringing like? How do they find, where are they from, and how did they get to Jerusalem to start building the temple for King Solomon? What's their background? How do they know how to build? Now, when they're there, who do they meet, and what are their experiences day in and day out as contractors on a building site where there's between 50 and 100,000 men working on it? Right. And it's challenging because the challenge is that if you look up information on the temple, it's not really that big. Pictures online show it to be this immense edifice. The actual temple itself is not supposed to be so big. So I'm figuring out, okay, how do you get 50,000 guys around a building site that might be the size of a football field? I mean, that's a lot of dudes, right?
Yeah, that's a lot.
So you have to use a little creative license in coming up with what's going on here. So when I wrote the presentation, and I still offer this, I do it as a slideshow. I was inspired by those documentaries like 48 Hours, Hard Evidence. Do you know those crime shows?
Yeah.
Or on Netflix, The Making of a Murderer. That was a big one, right?
Yep.
So I wrote the presentation and I called it Ruffian, The Making of a Murderer. And it was telling everyone in the lodge, this is how these guys became who they are in the story.
Right.
And here's what happens to them ultimately. Now, it follows the degree. You know who did it. You know what ultimately is going to happen. But it's sort of like taking and filling in all the backstory holes that really weren't described. Okay. So you know the degree. When the ruffians are caught by their pursuers, in our degree, it just says, hey, let's go get them. And the next thing you know, they're bound and they're brought before King Solomon. And I'm saying into myself, nobody just put their hands out and said, cuff me. Right? I decided in the presentation and ultimately in the novel, I described the fight. It's multiple pages. It's very bloody. It's what you would expect in combat, hand-to-hand combat, of people living in 1000 BC.
Right, because you're not just going to give up.
Everybody assumes from our story that King Solomon is a wise and benevolent and kind king, and that King Hiram of Tyre is there to help because he's so helpful. That's not how politics works.
Right.
Every king, they're not good. They're not nice, right? They have interests. They don't have friends.
Right.
So we're led as Masons through because the story has to move along. They're friends. They work together. They're very happy. My story explains what's really going on behind their eyes when they think about each other.
Right.
Remember, they are competing kingdoms at the end of the day. This is a business deal for Hiram. Solomon needs workmen. He needs lumber from Lebanon. He needs Tyrian purple, which is a dye made from mollusks off of Phoenicia.
Right.
He needs this stuff. And Hiram needs gold. And they're both about expanding their kingdom. All that's explained in the writing, right? And remember, this is historical fiction. The story is the degree. It follows the degree. But everything else is made up.
Right.
And the goal here is to get you to start thinking and put a face to the people you talk about in the degree. What does he look like? Where does this guy come from? The 12 craftsmen.
Mm-hmm.
Who are they? How did they get involved with the 3 criminals? And how did they get out of the plot to not commit the crime with them when the time comes? That story, I wrote all about that and the reasons why. They all get involved and they all get out. And what happens at the very end after the degree when the 3 criminals are punished? There's a post story. It doesn't just end there, right? And we get to meet characters who only have names to you. So based on your jurisdiction, the senior grand warden has a backstory. You meet his family. You know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
The seafaring man, do you have the seafaring man in your jurisdiction? Is he okay?
Yep.
3 chapters of the seafaring man, right? Like the smallest character that has a lot to do when it's explained to somebody who's inquiring and reads and goes, what are you going to say about this? Like, who cares about this guy? If you can write well and you can build a story, you can make people care about whatever you want them to.
Right.
Which is how authors are successful, right? Which is why we love certain authors who build character.
Right.
Right. But the whole idea is to take a Freemason is typically enamored with a story because all the ritual is stories. Right. We're encouraged to look at volumes of sacred law, the Bible, greatest story ever told. I took our degree and I simply fleshed out things you probably didn't even know you'd be thinking about.
Right.
And turned it into fun. Because you know what? It's supposed to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote for my pleasure. So our worshipful master has seen my presentation and he said, it's my favorite presentation. I love it. It makes me happy. I enjoy it.
Right.
And that night I went home and I said, I'm going to write a book. He literally, without even asking, just prompted me to say, you know what? If he likes this that much, I'm going to write something and I'm going to see how it goes. Didn't tell anyone till I was 150 pages.
Right.
Because there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than, I'm working on a book. Oh, yeah, so am I. You know, and it never gets done. Right? My wife didn't even know till I was halfway through. Nice. And I knew I found something I was in love with because I couldn't wait to come home every day and write. And I finished this novel 90 days from start to finish. I wrote every day. And the editing is the hardest part. And to this day, I can always change something.
Right.
It's never perfect. There's a point where you have to say, it's good enough. Let me print it and let's see if people enjoy it.
Right.
And, you know, it's you're so invested in it because it's personal. You want your friends to like it. You want people to read it. According to one of my close friends who's a Mason, he goes, doesn't matter if they read it, as long as they buy it. Yeah, I mean, look, it's not free, right, to publish it, but you want to make people happy.
Right.
And the thing I always tell someone when they buy a copy is I say, if you read it, I want you to tell me how you would have wrote it differently, because that's the conversation that stokes the imagination to get even deeper into loving Freemasonry. It's why people enjoy Star Wars after going on 50 years, right? They expanded past the movies to all these novels.
Right.
And I can tell you so many irrelevant Star Wars details that are unreal because I read these things and I got so into the universe and I could picture who the people look like. And then in the movie, you would see them, right? And you'd be like, oh, that's not what I pictured at all. Now that they really do the shows and stuff. Game of Thrones for me was very similar. I've read the books more than once. They're 1,000 pages a pop, right? 5 books.
Right.
And the show did a great job, but those books are always better when you can make it in your own imagination.
Right. I love when they have, when I read books that are pictures. Those are my favorite.
I have, if you want them.
Brother Czech, can I inquire deeper about probably my favorite character in the Third Degree? Would you mind?
Please. Absolutely.
The Wayfarer, the Wayfaring Man.
Okay. So in Jersey, we call him the Seafaring Man.
Seafaring Man.
Okay.
Yep.
Although in my chapter, so every chapter is written about a character and I do change their names based on what's going on.
Yeah.
So in our ritual, the Seafaring Man is a place where where the ruffians are looking to escape from Jerusalem, from Israel, and the craftsmen are able to also speak to the same individual and find out where the criminals have gone, that they've been passed that way. The expansion in the novel and the way that you take a character who has very little to do with a whole lot, although he's very instrumental in the degree, he has very few lines and he's only seen for a short period, is you build something about the person that gets people to care about him, right? Although he's a character of the degree where you don't think about him much because he's really just a bridge, when you build him out to be a human being and his brain, the reader is reading about the thoughts in his brain, and you realize he's just a normal guy trying to make a living, right? Who's thrust in the middle of a criminal situation, and
Between
now
right and wrong.
has to get involved, right? Whether he wants to or not, he's being accosted both by the perpetrators of the crime and the people who are trying to solve the crime. When he just wants to do his job and move on to the next port, right? And in this novel, he's not the only guy on the ship. He interacts with his companion sailors, and they are involved as well, because remember that the likelihood of anything happening in a vacuum in reality is a 0.
Right.
So when we talk about the simplicity of the characters in the degrees meeting each other and being involved with speaking to King Solomon or speaking to each other in a very Old English way, that's not how human beings do it. There's thoughts in your brain. There's interactions that have to be brought to life the way the three of us are talking right now, albeit in a formal sense of speaking, because formalized speech is one way that you take people back in time. Right. You don't use vernacular that we'd use today. You start talking without contractions. You start using a couple of different words. Now, the guys in the book, they're contractors. They work with stone. They curse. They make jokes. They do all the things you would see on any work site in America today. They just might refer to it a little differently. But when you read it, you go, things have not changed in, 3,000 years here.
Right.
These are guys who want to go home and they're lonely and they need entertainment and the job's hard, right? We see in our degrees that everyone's working like they're so happy to be there.
Right.
There's no other work. This is it. And we don't know what the conditions were. We assume the craftsmen are glad to be there. We assume that their bosses are nice guys. Why would you assume that? Do you guys have nice bosses every job you've ever been in? Maybe some, right? But we're trying to take the story and be true to the degree, but make it relatable, where a guy goes, I want to turn the next page, much like in Lodge when I go, I want you to watch me when I do this ritual. I want you to turn the next page because you're like, I got to know what happens next.
Right.
Like it's not a long, complicated book. It's 300 pages, but like every chapter's 5 pages or less. There's a couple that go a little longer, but it's meant for anyone to be able to read, even if you don't love reading, who have an interest to say, look, I'm going to put some time into this guy's story because I do want to see if it's going to stoke my imagination and really re-engage with that degree and remember why I love it from the first time I went through it.
Right.
Well, and Brother Czech, you bringing that up, like the bringing in your imagination and understanding that character better. Something I really enjoyed about reading some of your book was that the more I got to know the characters of this third degree, the more I felt like there was like a call for me to represent them better when I represent them in the third degree. What I mean by that is like you brought up earlier of like putting that on that bravado, or like, you know, really like doing an emphasis when you're like not just being monotone when you do that degree work, like stating the memorization of it, but it's like the more of like, you know, kind of knowing the backstory of that guy, you can kind of add some grit or, you know, perform better when you're doing it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, maybe
for you
Gilligan,
young guys,
that.
that main character plot, be the main character of the plot, bro. Yes,
Yeah.
I help you out, bro. I'm a little older, but I got you.
Yeah, thank
you. Buddy, you took the words right out of my mouth, because I was really getting ready to say the same thing earlier, where you were saying act the part. Is what I wrote down and circled and highlighted for myself to bring back up when I got a moment. You say act the part.
You know, can you imagine in a degree if all the guys in the degree, okay, so first of all, you're hoping they go through their lines and they're prepared, right? They know their floor work. You hope that they're prepared with the verbiage. But can you imagine if we all decided somehow we weren't going to be afraid to make little mistakes and that we were going to actually try to put on a show? Now, appropriate. We're not talking about, you know, doing things that we know are not appropriate. We're talking about, I want these guys to walk away and go, I've never seen something like this.
Correct.
And more importantly, I'm going to do it for the next guy. That's how important this was to me. Right? If we, so what you said, it warms my heart, because I wrote the thing myself so that it would prompt me to do better with my ritual and build that story in the back of your head. Now, I give you a suggestion, but you could come up and, like I said, tell me how you would have wrote it. Hey, that character, I never thought of him that way. You know, we have craftsmen in the book. Their backstories are varied. One was an ex-soldier who came to the temple to build. One guy, you know, they come from all different places that are actual places and what they were called during that time. And they all have their own religions and rituals and things they do. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to build all five senses come into reading the book. Those are the best stories when you start smacking your lips because of the description of what they're eating.
Right.
Or you wrinkle your nose when they talk about a bad smell. Right. And it's not just using your eyes to read. We're trying to engage all of your senses, because when you make your candidates and other Masons on the sideline engage in their senses, you hit a grand slam. It's the best ritual anyone can do. Even if you mess up lines, even if you blank and need a prompt, it doesn't matter. I did an installation last night of officers. I needed a couple of prompts. When I was done, people said, I have never seen so much inflection put into an installation ceremony, because, you know, it's the season for us.
Yeah.
Guys are going to 3 a weekend. I mean, it's unreal how many, right? So they're like, I've seen 50 of these, and I've never seen someone actually try to put inflection in it. And I'm like, that is a shame.
Yeah.
I'm not even performing for the master and the officers. I want the rest of the room to be happy.
Right.
And if they're happy, the officers will be happy. But we have to start thinking about, there's always a couple of fears in ritual. If I do poorly, my friends won't like me anymore.
Right.
First thing guys said, no one's going to like me. I won't be respected. And the second is, I'm going to let myself and everyone else down if I make a mistake.
Right. I'm supposed to be perfect. I'm supposed to be perfect. I'm not supposed to miss a single word. Everything's supposed to be right on key. And like, I would much rather sit here and read it monotone, so that way I don't miss a single word.
It is so unfortunate. And I see that we're taking that idea, we're trying to shift. But every grand jurisdiction's a battleship. It's 7 miles to turn. So we make those moves. We do what we can in our own corner of the world. And we simply try a little better every day. And when you build a consensus of guys who go, I'm on board with you.
Yeah.
Because if our whole lodge does it, what are you going to do to us? Yell at us?
Yeah, no.
If we're giving the right experience,
right.
If your ritual instructors come in and go, never saw that before,
you're giving,
can't say I didn't like it.
You're still giving the same experience. You're giving the same experience. Maybe the word may not be the exact same. May the word be changed from Old English to New English, and your speech comes across. You can't get that Old English out in your speech, and you change it to New English, but it still has the same meaning. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means you still implied the same. You implied the same thought or the same ending at the very end. That's why I was saying about your acting the part. Like, if you're acting the part, they're just going to pull into you. You're going to be like, wait, what? Even though there's some things where some senses they can't have, but they're going to be drawn, and everybody in the lodge is going to be drawn to you. Me and Brother Skittles, we use that a lot in our Widow Sons in our degree. We're very, very, very theatrical. I do it in my lodge because I think it brings I'm a senior deacon in my lodge. I can do any spot in lodge, but when it comes to degree work, I love the senior deacon spot because it brings that candidate the very first interaction. I'm going with the spots, and I'm not yelling, but I'm giving my best Robert De Niro on my spot that I'm standing there, so that way that candidate wants to come back in and be like, man, I want to be like that. And when me and Skittles, we went through his degree work because I was his mentor. When we went into lodge, I went through the story with him from the door. We went through the story through his recapitulation, and we went through the story together, and we built like you were saying earlier, you built that story and kind of gave the background. So when he was asking those questions and he asked him the question, he asked me the question, we went through it as we went through the ritual. So it kind of made that mindset, kind of gave him that characters of the lodges when we went through there. So I love that you did that with the characters in the third degree.
If you and I had a conversation and we wanted to get our point across and we focused on the words, but not on the delivery, we know communication is not complete without the style of delivery that gets people to buy into your idea.
Correct. Because I'm watching your facial
some people are
features.
very good at sales, right? They're persuasive, using rhetoric, being persuasive, right? And that is so important that we simply, it's about communicating. And it's about thinking, how would I want this delivered to me?
Correct.
Watch a degree and go, is that the way I want it? And having the openness in your heart to say, look, if someone criticizes me, I need to take it seriously and with love, the spirit it's offered. The issue is that a lot of guys can't deliver a rebuke kindly.
Right. They take it as an attack.
They come across as, well, you did that wrong, right? You missed a few words, right? You come out and you go, I did a great job. And they go, oh, well, you missed 2 words. And you go, I hope you feel better for telling me that. I'm not sure why you're superior, but you must feel it.
Right.
Yeah. And you have to realize in your heart, that's that guy's issue. It's not yours, but we take it on ourselves. Oh my God, I thought I did well. I missed 2 words.
Right.
Who cares? Right. Brother Skittles, did you want more on that character? I started and then, we went 90 degrees to the left.
No,
so
that happens on here a lot.
That
happens on here a lot.
That's all right.
No, that sounds correct, and that's exactly what I wanted. Because number one, I don't want to say too much because
no spoiler alerts.
I really want to encourage brothers to read this because I'm telling you, just reading this and it lit a fire in me of like how I want to portray this character. Given now that I know this character's backstory or how you perceived his backstory, and it gave me an opportunity to have some creative, like how you said, like you'd read a book and you would think of how that character looked and then you'd see him in the movie. Well, I could read your book and perceive that character how I thought they looked or how raspy they sounded or like where they came from. Now, maybe one day we'll see the movie and your character's different, mine's different, right? But I enjoyed it because I feel more confident in portraying that character fuller.
Right. Right.
I what you just said again is exactly what I hope happens. So first of all, if there's a movie, the two of you have starring roles. I guarantee you that.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I'm in.
You'll probably
Like,
get killed, but it's fine. Everyone dies.
can we be the bad guys?
Why not? You're gonna love my casting couch. Anyway, it's a but you know what you said, Skittles, is exactly right for what I'm trying to do. Like you just said, hey, I wrote it a certain way, but if it gets your brain to take it where you want to go, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
All I want you to do is think and have fun. Thinking's not supposed to hurt. It's supposed to make your life better, right?
Right.
Especially when you're thinking about something you enjoy and you go, wait a second, right? What? So he wrote this, but like I said, tell me how you do it different. Well, I would have probably thought about this guy doing this, that, and the other.
Right.
Okay.
Because
let's talk about it because now we have something to talk about.
Right. Because as Master Masons, aren't we supposed to be free thinkers?
Theoretically.
Yep. We're supposed to be free thinkers. So, I mean, definitely if that opens up your mind and makes you think or progresses your thoughts in Freemasonry, man, that's fantastic. Definitely fantastic.
Yeah, we need guys to start remembering this is supposed to be fun. It's not all work. And that when you are grateful where you are, creativity can happen. Can't be creative when you're bottled up, when you're hurting, when you're sucking wind because life's kicking your ass. You have to be grateful, if not happy, at least content. Right. People don't live in a state of happiness. They try to live in contentment. And when you're there, that's when you can start really climbing your ladder. If you're stuck in the hole, you just got to get back to flat ground, right? I'm in a good place in my life and I'm very, very satisfied. And that allowed me to have the creativity to sit at my computer every day and just start typing and go back and change stuff and, figure it out. Everybody has a book in them. It's about something. It might be about your life. It might be something you know about, something you're good at, something you got through. Everyone has a book in them. The question is, do you want to sit down and actually dictate that book on a medium? Whether you dictate it, write it, whatever, type it. Everyone has something to share with people. And I believe, so a presentation I've given in the past it's called Next to Godliness. And it's about everyday human beings and what their superpower is, right?
Okay.
And my thesis I postulate in the presentation, we all have a godlike power. We are gods walking on earth. Look at the things we've created. The fact that we're talking like we're in the same room, we're thousands of miles away. I mean, come on, that's godly,
cool.
Right? That's a godlike thing. So it's very important for every man to realize you have a God power. Your job in life is to figure out what it is and start sharing it because the world deserves what you can give them. That is vital.
I like
that. As soon as you feel useless, you're lost.
Yep.
Everyone has a purpose here.
Yep.
You got to make good decisions. You got consequences occur, but
correct.
We are walking gods on this planet. We are. I hope my power is to make other people happy. I would like that to be part of it. And God gave me a brain to think and the ability to do things so that I could try to improve, like I've said several times, that little corner I am in this world. And through the beauty of the internet, mail, I can send my little gift to everybody anywhere. I've mailed to Curacao, books have gone to Scotland, everywhere around the US, fortunately.
Nice.
People hear about it. And I've been very, very lucky that people are having interest in the topical matter, and partially by design, because if I just wrote a book, who cares?
Right.
You have these incredible authors who are churning them out left and right and have writing teams now.
Right.
Hard to break in. When you're in a fraternity, you have a captive audience, particularly if you're writing about that topical matter.
Correct.
Some people go, all right, I want to see what this person has to say.
Right.
And, it's a case of when you self-publish, you hope people read it and you want them to enjoy it because it is you and you feel judged.
Right.
You feel judged, right? Because someone goes, hey, man, that sucked. It hurts. I'm not the kind of guy who goes, all right, whatever. I mean, this is like my labor of love, right?
It's like you said earlier. How could you change it? How could you make it better? That's when someone says it sucks. Well, what? Give me your down take on it. What did you think that guy was?
And it's subjective, right?
Yeah,
a movie's subjective, books are subjective, art's subjective, but we can all be honest enough to know when something's a piece of crap. Everyone can pretty much agree. I did my best not to do that.
Right.
Well, no, you did no, and brother, for opposite of that, again, I'm telling you, what that book did for me, and I still need to finish it, but like I got through a really big majority of it, and it really gave me the encouragement, the pride, and I think just that extra oomph I needed to the next third degree. I can't wait to kind of give that oomph in some of the roles that I put on, and making sure that the brothers see and hear something that they've never witnessed before.
That makes me so happy, because inspiring other people is a talent as well. And when you can inspire, so it's nice to inspire people, and we never know who we inspire because we don't know them, right? We've heard those stories about someone's going to kill themselves, but a guy was kind to them and it kept them from jumping off a bridge. And that person never knows the effect they had. It is such a blessing when someone tells you that you've inspired them, because most of the time we never know. So I can't thank you enough for that, for your compliment, because it just feels great to know that you can communicate with people and who become your friends, who are your brothers, who genuinely care about what's going on. We don't have to live in the same town to care about each other. We are our brothers. And that is thicker than anything. And it's like, we've been together a little over an hour. My affinity for the two of you is weirdly very high, because most people would go like, hey, I met a guy at a party, who gives a shit? But we have already formed a bond because we went through those experiences. So we already came in with that camaraderie level.
Correct.
And then we actually talk and realize we like each other.
Right.
We're on the same page. We're like-minded people.
Yeah, correct.
That's Freemasonry right there.
Right.
And we're not a lodge room. It happens where brethren are gathered together in peace and harmony.
Yep.
That's when it happens.
I do have another question before we get out of the end of the podcast. Did you guys go over the story how you and Skittles met?
No, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily all that interesting in terms of I found the podcast on Facebook and really started looking at the reels.
Nice.
And part of this had to do really with, I had just written the book. I had some podcasts locally here that I was graciously allowed to be a guest on. And I started looking for other podcasters that were out of my geography, because it's only been recently that I've way more embraced traveling as a Freemason. I have a little more free time. My career's changed. It's at a mature level. Right. So I've been to Tennessee not that long ago. I go into Pennsylvania, which is the next state over. I do some speaking in New York. And I'm doing speaking engagements in different places. And I really wanted that opportunity to meet Masons from other places, because I will travel to speak in lodges out of my state. The logistics have to be gone over. But again, I'm at a place in my life where I can afford to travel more, time-wise, financially, whatever it is. And as I'd mentioned earlier, my wife is very, very, very understanding about these things, very encouraging. So for me, I want to see more of the world of Masonry in different places. I love seeing different ritual and meeting brethren that I never would have met. So when I found your podcast, I was very much taken. And I'll tell you what the biggest thing was. The three of us, you two look alike. I don't look like you guys. I got the shortest hair. My beard's barely there. Right? I mean, I'm wearing, like a button-down shirt, like a corporate guy, right?
Look, I'm wearing a button-down.
Oh, are you? Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. It's a ball shirt.
But, I want to be around people who have a point of view I don't get to see every day.
Yeah,
Understand.
yeah.
That is how you expand your brain
Right.
and
Yeah.
your love for your fraternity, because
Okay.
I want to see the guys I don't know. The ones I'm involved with, we're in everything together.
Right.
I see these guys all the time. They're wonderful people, my best friends. I still want to see everyone else
Right.
as much as I can while I'm on the planet.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's important. So when I saw the podcast and reached out, you always assume there's going to be a no. Unfortunately, you go in like, all right, what can I really offer to this? Right.
Right.
Is it self-serving? Do they have an interest in my topic? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I think that we're all like-minded in that we want to see those different experiences. And I think the viewership wants to see how that comes together, right?
Mhm.
Correct.
Older guy from New Jersey, younger guys, Kentucky, and Skittles, you're in
Illinois.
Illinois. Okay. Right. So it's like different parts of I'm on the coast,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
You're more central. It's very good for us to see not our differences, but actually what our similarities are. at the end.
100%.
Correct,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah, yeah.
Like
This
I
whole
could talk to you
podcast has
guys
been our
anytime,
similarities.
right? You ever said, Mike, let's talk about X, Y, and Z. But okay.
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
no topic I can't like have an opinion. I have opinion.
Right.
We all have opinions, right? But it's like the enjoyableness of communicating with your brethren.
Mhm.
It's like there's nothing like it. Like I can't tell someone what it is to be a Freemason. All I can say is that if you don't do it, you'll never know. Like
Right.
I don't know how well I can put it. You asked me way early on, what's your elevator pitch? And it's like it's very hard to get someone to feel what you feel.
It's this.
It's hard to write a book and get them to feel what you feel. I mean, the
Right.
characters I created, I mean, they're not my children, but it's like that's my brainchild of thought
Right.
when I said I'm going to get a lot of Masons to really consider looking at this, and I'm really hoping they like where I took every character.
Mhm. Open their mind.
And you know, you don't have to love it because, like I said, you might write it differently yourself. But I want someone to read it and go, that was a very clever idea this guy came up with when he put that down on paper. Like, geez, that was like something I wouldn't have thought of. And that will stoke the imagination
Mhm.
and then opens more doors to meet more people and just continue to spread the joy of being a Freemason.
Big Freemasonry.
Yeah.
That is why this is so important to me.
Understand.
It's just like when you're a Mason and you're involved, the sky is the limit.
Yep.
You get creative ideas
Yeah.
to present to other people, to bring up in different sessions, to exchange ideas. And now you're not just a taker, you're a giver.
Correct.
And being a giver, it is better to give than to receive, right?
Mhm.
Yes. You get way more out of it giving because the enjoyment of seeing someone succeed is way more. It's worth more than money, in my opinion. I feel it's in Freemasonry. We say, I don't want your money, I want your time, because I want the enjoyment of the moments we get to share together. That's worth more than gold. That's worth more than money.
Those are the wages of a Freemason, are the good feelings you leave a meeting with or a social event with. I saw that you guys there was a charitable event. It was at a hockey rink, right? It was with toys and stuff.
Yep.
Every person who, like when I'm watching this, everyone's happy.
Mhm.
Like that's what it is. It's like took a day away from whatever else you're doing. You're there, you're doing something charitable. It's good, but that's your free time. And when you're happy to do it, you're doing God's will in that case. Like it's exactly what you were put on the earth to do.
Mhm.
It's to make other people happy, and you've received enjoyment from it instead of it's a job. I don't want to be here. I have other things to do. Right? That's how we fill our lives.
Correct. Freemasonry should never
Yeah.
feel like a job. Like it should
Yeah.
never feel like a job. Like you were saying earlier when you were writing your book, you came home and that was that thing you were like, let me get, I got some things to do right now. That's Freemasonry. That's
Yeah,
for me.
I've
For me,
never
that's
felt
for me,
that way about very much.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's my
that
way
is
with
like a
Freemasonry.
singular occurrence to want to go home and be like, I got to do this.
Correct.
It's just not something most people go through. Everything's a chore.
Correct.
Everything is something to cross off your list. Life is very fast.
And for those guys that are listening that have been in Freemasonry for a very, very long time, and I know it happens. People get in ruts. Life puts you in ruts. Get out of that rut. go back to lodge, start putting that effort back in, because I know, hey, you may have been in 25, 30 years, but put that effort back in. I bet a brother will come pick you up, or at least somehow help communicate with you. Put that effort in, and I promise people will start coming back around.
Gilligan, the last thing I'll add to that you just said, because I think it's kind of poignant, is have the courage to change what you're doing, right? So, okay, I'm in a rut. I haven't been to lodge in a while. Don't be embarrassed. Everyone's heard the story. No one cares. They'd rather have you come back.
Correct.
Have the courage to reach out and say, I want to come back. Nobody's going to be mad at you because you were away.
Nope.
They're going to be happy you came back.
Right. You may
have that courage.
You may hear a lot of, man, we missed you, or you should have been here. And that's going to say, because people just really missed you. And you're going to have to know that that's going to happen. And you're going to have to go, shit, I probably should have came back. So that's a little bit of guilt. That's that moment you're sitting back and you don't want to go. Push past that and just do it, because you're going to gain way more. I promise you.
Be a little uncomfortable to grow, right?
Correct.
That's why they call it growing pains. That's the discomfort that comes with growth. And if you're missing something in your life and you've gone through the time and effort to become a master mason, stay a master mason involved.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Like you said, I don't drive at night. I need a ride. Ask.
Yep. I mean,
ask. I always hear this. Oh, he doesn't drive at night anymore. Did he ask anyone for a ride?
Correct.
Yes, it would be nice if we offered, but you got to help yourself too, right?
Right.
You know, it's like people just assume you don't want to come. They're not going to put you in that predicament of asking and having you be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But we just want you to stay involved, because you have something to offer us, and you owe it to the world that whatever you've got, give it to us.
Correct.
We want it badly.
Correct. I always tell people, God put me on this earth to make people laugh with me or at me. That's the only two. That's the reason why he put me on here, is to laugh with me or laugh at me. One of the two. I don't care, as long as you're laughing and having a good time and you're around me. That's my purpose. That's my purpose. So earlier when you were saying that you should have a purpose on this earth, that's facts. That, like, if you don't have a purpose, search for it. Maybe Freemasonry. If you're not a Mason, that might be your purpose. You never know. If you're just feeling stuck in a rut, find Masonry. You never know. It might change Skittles.
I love that. Yeah, man.
Do you got anything on your desk, brother?
Yeah, I'll give some closing statements. So I won't get into it too far, because I know we're trying to close out of here. But Brother Czech, you were talking about like us having, you wouldn't think we'd have similarities, but man, we do. And when you were talking about that you had started a cigar lodge, my ears perked up instantly, because I just want you to know that I have a Bible study at my house every Tuesday called BBC, Bible, Beer, and Cigars, where we light up a cigar, crack open a beer, and open up our Bibles. And I was just sitting there thinking, like, man, I wonder if he's a Liga Privada kind of guy, a Plasencia Alma Forte, a Perdomo guy, like, you know. But again, all that to say, we got to have you on the podcast again. I feel like you're such an active Mason. You got so much going on. You're pursuing so much that we have to have you on probably every 6 months just to keep up with you. And
you're
so
right. I agree.
I'd really love to have you on the podcast again and talk to you some more. I feel like we could do this, like, you know, just like 3 more times. But we got to have you on again in 2026. But if I were to leave with anything tonight, for all the brothers listening, if you're looking for ways to stoke the fire in your lodge, if you're looking for ways to encourage some brethren or to bring in some youth or just kind of get the brothers rallied up, please read this book. Brother Czech has put together an incredible book. I know just from what I've read, it's given me the insight that I've needed to make myself feel comfortable and confident to not just recite the words monotone, like what Gilligan was saying earlier in the podcast, where most guys do, but to to represent that character correctly. And I think that's what we're always supposed to do. Those words are there, but you're supposed to put the personality in there. And sometimes it can be hard to read those words and know the history and the personality of that character. And I really feel as though this book filled in all those gaps that I honestly didn't know that I needed. And this book really gave me what I needed, even though I didn't know I needed it. So, Brother Czech, I really just want to thank you for, getting the pen to paper, putting that together. I know it did a lot for me. I'm continuing to read it. And I'm going to pass it off to you, Brother Czech, if you want to have anything else to say. But please tell our listeners, how can they find the book, and what do you want them to get out of it?
Okay. Thank you so much. First of all, I really can't thank you enough for being here. I feel great. And the toughest part about this is I got to go to bed soon, and I am so wired and happy that, it might be a 2-scotch, nightcap. I don't know. But I'll tell you a little bit about real quick. So Violent Impious Wretches is the name of the book, a novel of King Solomon's temple in the ancient Middle East. The book is for sale through me directly. So the easiest way to get a copy is to email me at buymcbook@yahoo.com, which is BUYMC, my initials, book@yahoo.com. The book is sold for $20, and to ship it is an extra $5, so it's $25.
Fair enough.
If you'd like, all right, that's for soft cover. If you would like digital, which is a PDF, a secure PDF, it's only $20. I email that to you the same day with your unique password. If you'd like both of them and you need it shipped, total fee's $30. So it's $5 more if you want to buy both formats. If you just heard what I said and have no idea what I was talking about, send me an email at buymcbook@yahoo.com. And if you have any comments or you just want to talk masonry, please, you can find me at that email address. You can find me on Facebook. I'm Mike, M-I-K-E, Czech, C-Z-E-C-H. That's me. Please say hello. Send me a messenger. Friend me. And the whole thing here is to just get to meet people, try to make them happy, and try to put out a good product. So guys, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough, brothers.
Yeah, thank you.
Definitely,
thank you,
definitely appreciate you coming on the podcast. Definitely look forward to reading your book and getting into more of the character, because it's one thing I love about Freemasonry is being able to get into that character, because it's you kind of get to step back. As we say, no one has invented the time machine, but I think we have.
I will be very happy to make time to be on your podcast as many times as you would like me.
Perfect.
Well,
we will definitely take this in many directions. I will be available for you whenever you would like. That's my promise.
Perfect. Thank you, brother.
We appreciate it, brother.
All right.
My pleasure.
Well, brothers, great podcast. Love you guys. Brother Czech, honestly love you. Hope you come into my neck of woods. Hope you come into Gilligan's neck of the woods.
We'll roll out the red carpet.
Well, wait. Brother Czech, you ran into one of our past guests.
That's right. Maverick, who's Ryan Brady out of New Jersey.
Yeah.
I saw him last night, as a matter of fact.
That's funny.
And I was letting him know I was going to be on the podcast. And he goes, I was on that podcast. Yeah. And I'm like, they'll take anybody on, won't they? And we talked for a few minutes because, I'm not a motorcycle enthusiast. My brother rode a Harley for many years, a street glide. For me, I was a bicyclist, like a bicycle competitive racer of bicycles. So that also went back to the fact, we're gonna relate to each other because I'm not a rider, right? But it's definitely a case of when you're a Freemason, you find more things in common than less in common.
Yeah,
correct. 100%, 100%. That's a good closer there, brother. That's a good closer. We appreciate you coming on the podcast.
All right. Thank you so much. My pleasure.
All right. Love you, brothers. I'll see you guys later.